It is a great privilege for me to be amidst this august gathering for the 6th Babu Jagjivan Ram Memorial Lecture. I convey my deep appreciation to Kumari Shelja, chairperson of the Babu Jagjivan Ram National Foundation, for having invited such an eminent leader to deliver this lecture. We are indeed honored to have you, Madam President, amongst us, and I am personally touched by your gracious gesture to deliver this lecture on a theme so dear to my father. Let me at the outset congratulate you, Madam President, on receiving the prestigious Indira Gandhi Prize for Peace, Disarmament and Development. Madam, you have been closely associated with the struggle for the rights of the vulnerable sections. You have championed the cause of the socially disadvantaged and worked tirelessly to build an inclusive society. Your commitment and integrity for the upliftment of all sections of the society is worth emulating. We have been keenly awaiting this occasion to listen to you. As the first elected woman head of state in Africa and serving a second term, Madam President, you are a role model for women not only in Africa, but all over the world. We admire you for your constant attempts to make the world a safer place for women. Your consistent non-violent struggle to usher in an era of peace, your endeavor to make elementary education accessible to school children, your efforts to bring transparency in governance by passing the law for the freedom of information, your fight to contain corruption are giving a new direction to the society of Liberia and to the entire African continent. If I may say so, you have, in the face of heavy odds, upheld human dignity like my father always did. For thousands of years, the caste-ridden Indian society had declared a large section of its population untouchables and treated them with utter scorn and contempt. Under the crippling repression of this unjust system, they became the disinherited ones, the casualty of history with deep wounds on their souls. Against this backdrop, my father was born in a small village more than 100 years ago, but he was different. It was not in his nature to accept injustice. As life began to unfold and he felt the trauma of his circumstances, he took the reins of destiny in his own hands and strode ahead unstoppable to a new dawn. I see many young people sitting here. For them especially, I want to narrate two incidents of my father's life. One, when he was around 7 and went for a swim after school in a tiny rivulet which crisscrossed his village. It was rainy season. The current in the rivulet was too strong for the young swimmer. Overcome by the fierce midstream current, he began to fast drift away. A woman nearby spotted him. She had a long stick for driving her pigs. She rushed and extended her stick to rescue him. He saw the stick, stretched his arms to hold it tight, and using all his might, came out. It all happened in a flash, but kindled a light within him forever. By accident, he had chanced upon the guiding principle of his life, which he shared with me and which I share with you today. The elderly lady was no doubt a help, for which she was accorded the same respect as given to his own mother. But what really mattered was that he had the wisdom to hold on to the stick and the strength within to pull himself out. Wisdom and inner strength are the key. The importance of these two dawned on him early in life. Thereafter, he applied them throughout his long and relentless struggle, not only to pull himself out of his impossible situation, but also those millions of others like him. The other incident is about his zero tolerance for discrimination and injustice. After finishing middle school in the village, he joined the high school in the town nearby. Although his brilliant reputation as a topper had already preceded him, it was eclipsed by the social prejudices of the time, prejudices that unfortunately exist even today. The most unusual reception awaited him upon his arrival at the school. To the school veranda, which hitherto had accommodated 2 drinking water earthen pitchers, the Hindu and the Muslim pitchers, was added a 3rd one, the untouchable pitcher. At the sight of it, his innocent face quivered with humiliation. He picked up a stone and hurled it at the pot. The next day it was replaced by a new one. Once again he broke it, as if shattering not the water pot, but what lay behind it, the age-old practice of incapacitating discrimination. With every new pitcher meeting the same fate, the exasperated headmaster finally gave in, and what followed next can only be called revolutionary by all standards in the state of Bihar of 1920s. The school veranda thereafter had only 1 drinking water pitcher for everyone. Determined right from his childhood not to tolerate injustice, he scripted our country's saga of socio-political emancipation. He spearheaded the mission to uplift the weak and the marginalized while simultaneously mobilizing them against the foreign rule. Following in the footprints of Mahatma Gandhi, he was a leader at the national level to fight at 2 fronts, against the colonial rule and against the caste system. The path he chose was fraught with danger, least of which were his years in the British jail and threat to life from casteist forces. Recognizing his innate strength, Gandhiji had described him as burnished gold emerging out of fire. He fervently believed that caste system and democracy cannot coexist, as caste system is based on discrimination, while equality is the bedrock of democracy. It was due to his incessant efforts in the Constituent Assembly that the long-cherished ideals of equality, social, economic, and political were included in our Constitution. Our Constitution also provides for reservation by the state in favor of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. These provisions have been instrumental in transforming the lives of many, yet much more needs to be done to ensure that the fruits of progress reach the weakest of the weak and the poorest of the poor. This work is entrusted to Honorable Minister Kumari Shelja, whose sincerity to the cause I commend. As the longest-serving minister in the history of India, when the newly independent nation faced multifarious developmental challenges, Babuji proved his administrative acumen by overcoming all difficulties. Out of the many portfolios he held, I would mention food and agriculture and defense for paucity of time. As food minister, he ushered in the Green Revolution, and for the first time, the nation emerged from food grain shortages to not only become self-sufficient in food grains, but also be in a position to export them. It was during his tenure as defense minister that India entered into the Indo-Soviet Treaty of Peace, Friendship, and Cooperation. However, when Indo-Pakistan War was imminent, he led the country to the most spectacular victory, and Bangladesh was created. He was a great patriot, and above all, he had pledged his life to rid the humanity of its bondage. Today, it is a matter of immense pride for us, Madam President, that you, another great patriot, dedicated completely to social justice, are here to deliver this lecture. I am sure your words will propel us to strive for a just world order.